Months ago, I was on my way to becoming a doctor. Today, I'm a college dropout. And now most people who leave college, they talk about money, goals, dreams, ambitions, the dream life after dropping out. That's not my story. I didn't leave because I was scared. I definitely didn't regret it, not even for 1 second. But what I did honestly feel was pressure from my friends, family, society. At the time, everyone looked at me like I had quit, thrown away a good future, and had given up. But it wasn't about giving up, and it wasn't about quitting. It wasn't throwing away my potential. It was about proving to myself that I could play this game of life at the highest fucking level possible. Without a degree, without a backup plan, without a fucking safety net. I only had to do 1 more year to get my bachelor's, and then I'd be in medical school. And if I'm honest, it took me a year of deciding and consulting with myself whether this was going to be the right decision. I had never imagined that I would be down that path. I had always looked at myself as a person who saw things through. And in this video, I'm going to tell you the things that nobody tells you about dropping out, the real reason I left, and how you can apply those principles to yourself. Before the day I had actually dropped out, it had taken, as I said, a whole year of talking to myself, talking to my friends and family about whether I was going down the right path. It started to click slowly in my head as I had grown on social media and started seeing the potentials in business outside of the traditional education system, that I started to think, is being a doctor really gonna give me the life that I want? As I said, it took me a year of internal dialogue to come to the final solution that I needed to drop out. You know, I had started to grow on social media. I had to start to see the potentials of business outside of the traditional path. But what planted that seed in my head that maybe this 9-to-5 thing, or even being a doctor, which is a highly prestigious job, wasn't for me, was one night in LA after a date. I had gone to catch the bus. And as I tapped my card to get on the bus, my card had declined. I realized at that moment I was doing everything right. I was going to school, I was doing a respected degree, I had a bright future, yet I was a 23-year-old who was still broke. And I looked around me and there was other young people who were making a name for themselves respectfully whilst living their life and enjoying their youth. In that moment, I realized that if I had continued to go down this path, it would be another 10 years of education and another 10 years of sacrifice, plus hundreds of thousands of dollars of debt to get to a point where even then I'm not guaranteed success. I felt fucking terrified, but at the same time I felt relieved that I started to think, okay, outside the fucking box. Like I said, that moment, it still didn't solidify the decision. But for a whole year up after that, I was always in my head thinking, am I doing the right thing? And then I fucking realized that if you are given an opportunity in your life to take the fucking risk and jump in the deep end, fucking do that. Life is way too short to fucking rely on safety nets. I've said this quote many times, one of my favorite quotes: the graveyard is full of men who thought they had more time. You don't have fucking time. Do something about it. I felt fucking terrified, right, at the potentiality of 10 more years of education and hundreds of thousands of dollars of debt just to get to a position where I wasn't still guaranteed success. But at the same time, I was relieved that I was like, okay, I'm fucking switching on right now. And so what I did is I started to venture into online business, starting to see how I could monetize my personal brand to provide cash for myself, to provide security, to provide a means of me going out and exploring the world whilst making an income at the same time. And at the time, yes, it was very slow. That's why it took a whole year, because I was like, okay, maybe I shouldn't dive into this fully. But in hindsight, looking back, you just gotta fucking jump into the deep end of the pool, man. What I told myself in those moments to justify my hesitation was that I had a good thing going. Don't mess this up. You've got a scholarship, nice degree. You're gonna be a doctor. Why are you fucking complaining? But then as the journey went along, I started to realize that was just a coping mechanism. I was fucking settling for mediocrity. I was comfortable with what I had. But if you are really, truly a young hustler who considers himself a fucking top operator in this life, a fucking killer, you can never settle for comfortable. Never. The final blow happened when actually one of my friends, Jack Hopkins, messaged me while I was studying for my fucking biology exam. I was like 4 a.m. I was doing an all-nighter. And he told me, bro, why are you still in school? I said, because I'm going to be a doctor. And he said, doctors don't make 100 G's a month, man. At that time, I checked, okay, how much did I make this month with my online stuff? And I checked how much a doctor made. And we had made the same amount. Why the fuck was I about to go down on years of pain just to arrive at the same destination that I was already at? I closed the fucking laptop. I went home. I never ever went to another class again. And the hardest days after dropping out was realizing that I was on my own. And this is what people don't tell you when you start to try do something on your own. There is nobody to tell you what to do, what time to wake up, what time to clock in, what business strategy to follow. There's no one to train you. You don't have that guidance anymore. You are truly in the deep end on your own with no fucking floaties. But did I fucking ever wake up and regret it? No, not for 1 second. Quite recently, last semester, would have been the semester I graduated. And as I watched my friends graduate, I thought, yeah, that could have been me. And the internal voice in me said, you made the right decision. Because at any point in my life, I could go back and finish my degree. But if you're young, ambitious, you have a small window of opportunity where you can fucking take your life by the horns and say, I'm gonna fucking do this. And when it comes to friends and family's reactions, I would say 80% of my friends disagreed with me. And that was tough to take at the time. I felt like nobody could understand me, and that's why I thought I was doing the wrong thing. Even my own father said that I was a fucking failure for dropping out of college. And because of that uncertainty and because of that doubt that people had for me, I realized that I had a fucking point to prove that yes, you can do something in this life if you put your fucking mind to it. So I doubled down on my content. I doubled down on my personal brand. I decided I was going to go all in. It was all or nothing. And I remember the moment I realized like, yeah, I had made the right choice was when I booked my fucking plane ticket to Bali. And as the taxi driver or whatever was taking me to my villa in Bali, I was thinking, I remember looking out the window and thinking, yo, I was never supposed to be here. And yet I'm here because I fucking had a pair of balls and I dropped out and I chased a personal brand and it worked. But chasing a personal brand gave me clarity that college never could. In college, you don't have control of your life. Your life is dictated by somebody else. Do this assignment, wake up here, go to this class, apply to this college. Same result once you become a doctor. The only difference is now you get a little bit of an income, you get a salary. But the world's greatest poison, I mean this, the world's greatest poison and the most addictive thing on this planet is a salary. It's not any narcotic drug or anything, it's a salary. We are conditioned from fucking childhood that this is the one true thing that defines our worth. How much do you get paid annually? And what job title do you have? But what if there was another way? What if there was a way to be a young fucking handsome Marco Polo traveling the world and helping other people do the same thing? And that's the clarity that building a personal brand gave me. Now that I had a clear mission, I was going to live my life to the fullest and help other people do the same thing. I didn't need anyone to tell me when to wake up or what to do. It came naturally to me. I followed my instincts, my gut feeling, and that's how I got to where I am right now. In the last year, I've traveled Asia, North Africa, Europe, Middle East, and now I'm fucking Latin America right now. If I hadn't made that fucking simple split decision that, okay, I am never going to go to another class again and I'm going to double down on my personal brand, guess what? Right now, I would not be talking in front of a camera. I'd be in a fucking library. I've coached thousands of clients and generated over $1 million in revenue. I've even been able to hire my best friends to help me on this project. How many people who follow the traditional path can say that they've achieved that level of freedom, where they can do what they want and help those closest to them? Because a lot of people think that motivation is not as strong as discipline, but that's incorrect. Motivation is much stronger than discipline when your motivation is unselfish. When you have a mission to help other people, a motivation larger than yourself, then you can't even afford to have weak discipline because you're fighting for something bigger than yourself. I'm fighting for you guys. I'm fighting for those around me to help everyone. And that's what power of personal branding does. But if you are on the edge of dropping out, here are some things you need to consider. First, I'm going to tell you a little story of when I get to Bali. After a couple months in Bali, and I had released my vlog where I'd announced my dropping out of college, a kid recognized me in a supermarket. He might be watching this video right now. He comes up to me and he says, "Hey man, your vlog inspired me so much, I dropped out of high school and moved to Bali." I told that guy, go back home and finish school, because the last thing you need to be doing is when you have nothing and then you drop out, or you're in fucking high school and you drop out. What I did is I built a solid base, a solid foundation. I saw the trajectory, and then I took the leap of faith into the deep end. This kid that came up to me, he didn't even know what he was going to do. Was he going to do personal branding? Was he going to be a high ticket online sales person? Was he going to do fucking e-com? He just fucking bounced. So first you need to figure out what it is you want to do. How are you going to make money online? Once you figure that out, build to that. Once you have a base, bounce. You don't need much, but you need a base. And that's the biggest misconception people have about dropping out. They say, oh, X, Y, and Z dropped out. Yeah, fucking Mark Zuckerberg, Steve Jobs, Bill Gates, they dropped out because guess what? They had something going on. They knew that the potential was larger than whatever the degree was going to give them. And the biggest mindset you need to have to survive after dropping out is fucking speed of execution, determination, and focus. You need to decide what you're going to do, and you need to be a fucking grown up and stick to it. You need to pursue it to the fullest. You can't half-ass shit. Like I said, there's nobody to tell you what to do. There's, right now, if I wanted to, I could just go sit on my ass on the beach in Tulum. I've been in Tulum now for a couple of weeks. I haven't even seen the beach. I've been hustling. You have got to set a standard for yourself and hold yourself accountable to that standard, because nobody else will. And the only thing I would have done sooner after dropping out is hired a mentor. Quite recently, about maybe a couple months ago, I invested 15K into mentorship. Why? Because I knew I needed someone to be breathing down my neck, telling me, yo, check in. You need to do this, X, Y, and Z. You can do it on your own. But as I have said in so many videos, it's not about what you can get away with. It's about what can you do better. Nothing good in this life ever comes without some form of investment, sacrifice, or pain. That's just how the long-term, short-term gratification dynamic works. And the biggest advice I can give, because I've received my own success from it, is building a solid personal brand. Whatever you're doing right now, whether that be your job, I was a barber and I built up a solid personal branding of barbering. You could be a fucking bricklayer. Build up a personal brand around that, so that when you do leave, don't make the personal brand about your actual job, make it about you. So that when you do leave, people follow you for you, not for what you do. That's the biggest mistake people have about personal branding. It needs to be about you. You need to give value, help people, and fix problems. The biggest problem that most people have when they want to go into, say, personal branding is like, oh, what kind of niche should I get into? You don't think about niche. Think about your experience in life and what problem can you solve. If you have overcome a problem, give advice on that problem and help one person. If you help one person online, you've essentially been able to help thousands of people. That is a personal brand. You can give advice and solve problems for thousands of people who now look to you for your advice. And so I don't have any regrets. And I've said this in my recent vlog, like, what would I tell my younger self? I would tell him, thank you for the transformation, for transforming yourself physically, mentally, and doing, all the hard work. But the only thing I would have changed is I would have started that earlier. I would have started filming my journey, documenting my experiences, and teaching those lessons. Because looking back now, dropping out wasn't the end, it was only the beginning. My life only started this year. It was literally the start of my life, because I realized for the first time in my life, I could do whatever the fuck I wanted to do. And yes, some days I thought I have ruined everything. Some days I thought I was fucking unstoppable. What I've learned is this: life doesn't hand you certainty. It hands you choices. You decide what you want to do. You could play the safe game, the easy path, and follow life and momentum. Or you could realize that there is more to life than fucking salary. There's more to life than the traditional shit. There's a whole world out there. There are continents to be fucking explored. There are fucking lessons to be learned and experiences to be given. At the end of the day, one of the most valuable lessons my old JUCO in Kansas, my coach told me, he said, when it comes to the end of your life, bro, you are not going to remember the money you made or the money you spent. Only the experiences you've had, the people you've met, and the lessons you've learned. That's what a personal brand is. And if you are keen on building your own personal brand and perhaps going down that path yourself, look, there's a excellent resource down below. It's a free call, okay? Book your free strategy call with my team, map out, if a personal brand is the right choice for you and what that would even look like. Go over your story, see some points where we can improve and go from there. Or if you are already on your personal branding journey, but you want to scale it, maybe you're not seeing any success, still book a call with the team and we'll map out what are the bottlenecks, what are some things that we can improve on, and what steps you can take next. And lastly, if you are a personal brand who is making big money, but you feel perhaps that you're a slave to your business, again, book a call. It's completely free with my team, and we'll see what are the strategic function points that we can improve on to give you some freedom back in your life. Whether that be building teams, paid ads, or removing yourself from delivery. If you want to start, grow, or scale your personal brand, guys, the link to get a free call with my Amplify team is down below. It's an excellent resource, completely free. If you are interested in that personal branding, that's for you. Decide what path you want to go down, build up a base, and sack that safe shit. Take control of your fucking life. Stay sharp, stay handsome, and I'll catch you in the next one.